Good afternoon. Welcome to the 20th anniversary concert of the Huntington Beach Concert Band. This band was formed in 1973 in the month of February, and here we are 20 years later with untold numbers of concerts behind us. The band that you see is not the band that started. The original band had about half as many members as you're seeing today, and it was formed by Mr. John Mason, working with Mr. Walter Johnson of the Huntington Beach Library. The band, over the intervening 20 years, has grown both in size and in quality until it is now recognized as being one of the two top select select concert bands of a volunteer nature here in Orange County. The concert that they're playing today consists of 10 numbers, and one of those numbers will be directed by Mr. John Mason, the original conductor of the band. And the number that he will conduct is a number that was on the first concert that this band played in the summer of 1973 at the Golden West Amphitheater.
Really happy to be back. My name is John Mason, and I was the one that was a part of the original group that started the Huntington Beach Community Concert Band, and it was my privilege to be the first director of the group. The high school band directors decided that we wanted to have an outlet for people that graduated from our programs, and the community was needing to have a group like this. So we were involved, and I was fortunate, as I said before, to be the director. And I was the director for 3.5 years, having the rehearsals in my band room at Marina High School during that period of time. And we fulfilled, I think, a lot of the needs that the city has and has had for a community group, and has given the people a chance to have an outlet to perform. And after 3.5 years, I felt that I needed to do something else. I was still very active in my high school band. And fortunately, we were able to get Tom Ridley, who came along at that point and has been a very successful band director with the group, and obviously has done a very fine job. So I'm very, very pleased to be back today. I'm very honored to be here to be able to conduct one of the numbers. It happens to be one of the numbers that we did 20 years ago on our original concert. So I'm very, very pleased and very happy about it.
I'm Elliot Strother, and I was one of the original members of the band 20 years ago. I lived in Fountain Valley at the time. I was in the Air Force. And my daughter played flute, and we both came that first night. And I played trumpet all through high school and college, but then my daughter got into flute, so I took it up. And then for about 5 years, we came together. And then I got out of the Air Force and ended up in South Pasadena. So I had a decision to make then. Do I drive 40 miles every Tuesday night to play? And it was, it got into me by then, and I really would have missed it, so I kept coming, and just keep coming, and it's been a wonderful time.
I've been with the Huntington Beach Concert Band for approximately 16 years as a result of a friend suggesting that I come down and audition for the position when Mr. Mason left back in May of 1977. And what initially was a paid job has turned into be a great avocation, as it is a tremendous group to come and rehearse with on Tuesday evening and perform with. The people love making music. They love sharing it with others, as do I. And it's just been a real great experience over all of these years. We hope you've enjoyed the music. It's a tremendous amount of fun. We just enjoy sharing with everybody else. Thank you.
My name is Norm Silvers. I'm an ex-radio announcer going back many, many years. And fortunately, a number of years ago, I had the privilege of teaching and working with a gentleman by the name of Tom Ridley, who happens to be the director of the Huntington Beach Concert Band. Many years ago at Canyon High School, he and I worked together. And after he left teaching and started working with the Huntington Beach Concert Band, he asked me at one time if I would like to do some announcing for the group. It was small then, and I jumped at the chance because I hadn't been in announcing for quite a while. So we started working together about 10, 11, 12 years ago, something like that, on Sundays and 4th of Julys and different occasions. There were times when there weren't microphones and I had to shout above, out into an auditorium. Fortunately, we've had microphones most of the time, and it's been a wonderful pleasure to work with Tom and members of the Huntington Beach Concert Band, because they've grown and become much more proficient. Their music has been wonderful. And on this, their 20th anniversary, it's another pleasure of mine to be able to work with them and continue with our association. Thank you.
You've enjoyed this concert, the 20th anniversary concert of the Huntington Beach Concert Band, and I hope you'll come to some of our other concerts. We have several concerts scheduled this summer in the Central Library in Huntington Beach, and we will be playing other places throughout the surrounding areas of Huntington Beach. Watch for us in the newspapers, and do come in and enjoy one of our concerts. And our outdoor concerts, bring your picnic lunch, sit and enjoy the music while you have something to eat. Thank you very much for being with us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you.
We've included this in this afternoon's program. It was on the original program 20 years ago when the group started back in 1973. The Second Suite for Military Band by Gustav Holst. A selection by Harold Walters entitled Trumpets Wild. For all of you who studied piano in recent years or years gone by and you sat down and tried to figure out how on earth do I play The Wild Horseman by Robert Schumann, here it is. It's a whole lot easier when you have three trumpet players doing it. The Trumpets Wild. By Mr. Hazo, who's from the Pennsylvania area, has written a lot of stuff for the Modern Concert Band. And I believe, my memory serves me right, I believe his wife wrote the poetry to this song. It is entitled, Each Time You Tell Their Story.
choose to die. It's what they risk by being who and where they are. It's what they dare while saving someone else whose life means suddenly as much to them as theirs, or more. To honor them, why speak of duty or the will of governments? Think first of love each time you tell their story. It gives their sacrifice a name and takes from war its glory.
Just a brief little history of the Huntington Beach Concert Band. It was begun in 1973 by the founding director, Mr. John Mason, who at that time was the band director at Marina High School. And I don't know that he realized what he was getting started there, which was at that time fully supported by the city of Huntington Beach, in terms of they paid for a manager and they paid for, I assume, the director as well. And as well as bought music and bought instruments, and that all went along fine until Prop 13 came by, and oops, there went a lot of the money. So the band has not been funded basically by the city since the passage of Prop 13, but yet they have persevered through all of these years. And I believe Mr. John Mason is here today. We had invited him and they said he was coming. John, are you out there somewhere? Right over here in the corner, the founding director, Mr. John Mason. You know, in all of those lean years, well, actually, I want to say, at the first rehearsal, one of our members that's currently on stage was at that rehearsal and has been playing with the band ever since. And during the, if you will, sort of lean years there in the late 70s, early 80s, and into the 90s, the group, actually, from my standpoint, though I was the director, the group hired me or selected me or whatever they did. I made the audition back in May of 1977. I think the group would have fallen apart had it not been for the one individual. And so we'd like to recognize Lloyd Glick. Lloyd's been with the group since day one. He's been the general manager, the president, the truck driver, the equipment loader, the liaison to the city, the vendor, the borrower, to try and get funds, recruit people,
and he's for many, 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 many years has made the group go, and hopefully he'll hang around for another 40 years. You know, initially the concerts when the group first started were at Golden West College. They were called Sunday Supper Serenades, and they were in the amphitheater at Golden West College, and I think that went on for about the first 5 or 6 years. And I think then that was probably Prop 13 passed, and the college said, oops, we don't have any more money, you can't play here. So we came over here to Central Park, and we played at under various trees at various times. You know, with the branches falling in the tubas and the leaves. Anyway, in the early 2000s, the Seacliff people built the concrete stage for us, and Rotary provided the inflatable shell, and the audiences have grown, and we're very grateful.
I'd like to welcome Tom Ridley, the director of the HB Concert Band, and congratulate you on your 50th anniversary.
Thank you so much.
I'm here on behalf of the California State Assembly and also on behalf of the California State Senate, which is my side. The Assembly side is Assemblywoman Diane Dixon. We're here to present the Huntington Beach Concert Band 50th anniversary celebration, how much we enjoy them, and also just to thank them for taking their time here and always allowing us as a community to come together and have a great evening to enjoy. Congratulations, and Tom, when the time comes for your retirement, we're going to also celebrate you as well.
Thank you.
However, it is also another special day because this is Tom Ridley's 46th event, and this will be his last one here in the city of Huntington Beach. So please all help me give him a big round of applause for his dedication and his commitment to our city.
And it's actually having the mayor pro tem here. It was nice to have a representative from the city of Huntington Beach come to see what's going on in the park, as well as having the state senator come. You know, they volunteered to come. We didn't ask them to come, and so that's really nice that they recognize what the Huntington Beach Concert Band is doing.
I've worked with Tom Ridley in the past, and we've established a friendship, and it's the second time he's commissioned me, and I was very flattered. Whenever you get commissioned twice, it's very flattering. I know it was he was retiring from this ensemble, and I wanted to give him something very special. So I just went into my studio and wrote this piece, and I'm very proud of it, and I hope the band and he enjoyed it very much. We greatly appreciate you being here as an audience
and hopefully will continue. And we're glad that you're here and appreciate the various different types of music that we put on in the summertime, because it's not all rock and roll. You can go to other cities for that, but you can get a great variety here. And it's always great to support the Huntington Beach Concert Band and the concerts in the park. That way they can continue for another 50 years.
Let them take a bow, folks. Nicely done.
Loved music, loved what I did, but it was time to move on.
Thank you very much. God bless. Have a great week, folks.
So a show that I remember that I thought was particularly well was one we did. There was an all-Broadway show down at Leisure World, whatever they call the place down there now. But we had guest singers, and it was all Broadway shows, tunes, and it was a full house, and it went exceptionally well, one of the highlights. And then there's the one time that I remember we had to stop in the middle of a piece due to a percussion section failure in the park. Long time ago.
See, I don't remember either of those. I remember the concerts down at Leisure World. But I think probably the most embarrassing thing for me, I used to drive the truck, the band truck, and
yeah, I used to ride shotgun with you.
Yes, and we played a concert in the park in Downey, one of their summer concert series, and I was driving the truck, and pulling in next to the stage, I ran the top of the truck into the top of their bandstand. The only accident I've ever had with equipment, but nothing came of it. I mean, no claims were made, but we still had a dent in the top of the truck until such time as the truck was traded, upgraded to a new one. Mm-hmm. But I don't know about the Downey bandstand. Maybe it's there.
Still
maybe
has
it isn't. Who knows? But no, I don't have any major incident. I can remember. Excuse me. I can remember Tom's initial appearance with the band when he came to audition for directorship. I remember that.
Tell me about that.
Well, John Mason had retired, and it was necessary to replace him. Either that or the band was going to fold. And so we set up auditions for, similar to what I guess you've just done, where we invited those who were interested in being the conductor to come to and conduct a rehearsal. And we had, I think, 3 or 4.
I think you had 4, as I recall.
And after Tom made his appearance and directed a number, it became evident that we didn't even need to take a vote. Everybody was overwhelmed by his professionalism and his personality, and etc. And so we did a perfunctory vote, but the decision was made, and I remember that.
Were you teaching?
I was teaching high school at Canyon High School out in Anaheim Hills at the time. That was May of 1977.
Right.
And it must have been in April when you did the auditions, because I didn't start until about the second week of May, because I had my high school band. We traveled to Mexico City that year over the Easter break, which must have been late April. So I didn't start until May of '77 with the Huntington Beach Concert Band.
Right.
And then I guess we did concerts in the park at the amphitheater at Golden West College, because you have a picture there showing us there.
Yes, that was our first venue as a community band was there at the Golden West College. See, when the event originally was formed, it was under the city directed that it be under the control of the library through the chief of the library, Walter Johnson. And so all of our communication pretty much with the city was through him. And also when they decided they were considering a bandstand in the park, they formed an ad hoc committee of representatives of various groups like the Art Council and some others. And I was invited to participate representing the band in selecting the spot for the bandstand. And they were originally going to put the bandstand over closer to the lake, and it would have been in a very bad direction, both from the sun shining and of course the wind. So anyway, I worked with that committee and got them to, I picked out the spot that I thought would be the best, and that's where the band is best.
But you picked a good spot. It's a good spot. It is a very lovely spot for the concerts in the park. It really is. Very nicely done. The city, quote unquote, sponsored the band from their initial 1973, where they spent about $50,000 on instruments, which is a fair amount of money in 1973, okay, until Prop 13 passed. But when Prop 13 passed in 78, come 79 in the budget, there was no band in the budget. So from 79 on, there's been no funding from the city. It's all been whatever we can beg, borrow, and coerce from other folks. We have people pursuing grants, actually, and we have received some money that would definitely fall in that category. But there's no ongoing, if you will, benefactor that's supporting the band.
Yeah.
You know,
there's no budget item, for instance.
Yeah, in the city, there's no budget item, no nothing. The city used to let us use the truck that Lloyd ran into the Downey bandstand with, but you know, new risk manager said, no, you can't use the truck anymore. So at that point, we had to, you know, what do? Well, we bought a trailer, and the trailer got stolen, and fortunately, someone in the band said, I'll buy you another trailer. So that's what we use, and it's stored off-site, because we used to store it, you know, locally, but it's now stored in a secure facility. And so, you know, we're sort of, you know, we're all on our own. I think a lot of people assume that, you know, it's Huntington Beach Concert Band, the city's on top of this, but nah, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they appreciate the fact that we're here. They like the fact that we're in the park. But when it comes to parting dollars, yeah, it's another story. Yeah. Though they do part dollars in the sense that we get to use the park and don't have to pay for the use of the park, which is nice.
So many cities have a summer series.
Yes, and they pay for the entire summer series. And as I said on my other video when I was talking with the HB3 guy, and all they do is put on rock and roll tribute bands, which is fine. That's whatever, and a lot of people go, and that's what they do. But that is not what the Huntington Beach Concert Band puts on. We put on, you know, other concert bands, jazz bands, an occasional tribute band, Latin jazz,
military bands,
choir, orchestra. So, you know, it's a whole different ballgame.
Mm-hmm.
So in one respect, from my perspective, it's nice not having someone say, here's what you have to do, so we can do what we want to do. The downside being, we got to scrape for bucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also add into all of this whatever here, and good for the video, the band would have failed a long, long time ago, like in the early 70s, early 80s, if it were not for Lloyd. Lloyd kept the band together, doing all of the things he did. He was the manager, the president, everything. He, at one point, you know, he did every possible job. He kept the band together in the early years. So thank you. Look what you've done to me.
Self-interest. Yeah, where else was I going to play my trumpet? Thank you, Tom, for the kind words, but I don't think anything that I accomplished could have been accomplished without you.
Oh, yes, you could have. One time.
There we go. Because I've played in bands with, oh Lord, I don't know, I guess I counted them up once, and it was at least a dozen community bands. And in almost every one of those, there was some kind of a dispute amongst the band members with the director. We have never had a band member in the Huntington Beach Community Band say one word negative to Tom, nor even suggest
he hasn't heard it
that he be replaced. And that's unusual in any kind of a community group where you're dealing with volunteer people.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anything I would say other than to caution to be extremely selective in who leads the band, both internally and musically. I see that you've just elected a new president. Couldn't be a finer choice. That portends a continuing future for the band.
Oh, the future, yes. I think the future is in great hands. The search committee, I think, did an excellent job in getting some candidates, and the band picked an excellent choice. I think Ken will do an excellent job and lead the group. I think he's totally committed. Dan Rugg, being the new general manager, is on board, is going to do a great job, and the board that has been in place for about the last 8 or 10 years, they're going to continue with the new president, Dennis Nicolosi. They will all do a great job. I see nothing but a bright future for the band, and my hope is that they just succeed beyond all expectations and continue on for years and years to come.
Can you comment, Tom, on the Association for Community Bands and your activities with them?
Sure. So actually I was thinking about the Association of Concert Bands on my way over here and things that as a result of that. So first of all, my first question was, how on earth did I ever get on the ballot to be nominated to be on the board of directors? And then who stuffed the ballot box? I have no idea. But anyway, that has proven to be a great thing for me, and I think for the Huntington Beach Concert Band. You know, I got to know lots of high-powered directors, if you will, from the military and other places, and work on the board with those people. And as a result of that, Tom Rotundi came a year ago. I would count that as one of the highlights of my being a director of the band, to have him come out and work with the band and just be, you know, he had nothing but good things to say about the Huntington Beach Concert Band. And he still says great things about the Huntington Beach Concert Band, and I still stay in touch with him. That and the other people that I've met, you know, it's just been great, and I hope that the Huntington Beach Concert Bands, they should certainly remain a member of the Association of Concert Bands. It has many benefits and is a great relationship.